Recently, I found myself staying with my brother in Mount Florida, and I've been walking past this bowling club nearly every day, and I remember this bowling club from childhood, but I was really disappointed to see the state that it's presently now in. So I was interested in finding out more about it, and I couldn't help notice posters all around the area about saving the bowling club. So I was very fortunate to meet a couple of members of the Mount Florida Community Trust, a trust which has been set up specially to preserve this as an amenity for local people.
The amount of support shown by people locally has been enormous. We had, in the very early days, we had the petition which was signed by 1,100 people who were keen to keep the green space. And I have people come up to me and ask all the time how this is going, what's the latest news, what can we do to save this? There is a huge kind of positive will to keep this space.
We have successfully managed to get the councillors and the planning committee to accept that this should not be a development, and it has now been referred to the Scottish office because the developer has put in an appeal, and we have gone out to the community again to ask the community to object to that appeal and protect it as the green space, and that is the process we are in just now. That closed on the 26th of March for all objections. So now we have to wait till the 18th of May until a decision is made.
Is the idea to buy the land? Is that the idea?
Absolutely. At no point have we ever wanted them to just give it to us. We had hoped initially that they would engage so that we could negotiate and arrange a purchase, but that it turns out they had planned it somewhat differently and made the sale to the developer quite early on. But we have been looking at funding through the Scottish Land Fund, which is there specifically in order to enable communities to buy facilities that they would use for community purposes. We do recognise that bowling as a sport is not as popular as it was 100 years ago, and that it is unrealistic to try and base its survival purely on bowling. It would be nice to keep bowling as a kind of a part of its historical interest, but it needs to adapt and be made to fit modern uses. It has huge potential to be used in many different ways that the community is asking to have.
Bowling greens can be saved. Communities get together, they can stop developers going where they want to go and let the community do what it needs to do.
And what do you think original chairperson, or whoever his name was, David Lamb, what do you think their vision was for the club, and how do you feel that they tie together?
So the space was allocated, when this area was laid out, was allocated as open green space. It was protected as such. I think they understood the importance of a green space in a built-up area, and they were, I don't even think they were ahead of their time. I think we just lost sight of that, and now we really understand it again. You can't just build on every square inch of land that's left and sort of scrap the green space to provide housing without keeping the headspace and the air. And it's like a little green lung right in the heart of Mount Florida. And there are studies that show the mental health and well-being of residents of an area is improved when there is green space in that area. So that's what we want to keep for here. We want somewhere that local residents can go and use that space. And I think the original people who gave the land and identified this spot to keep a green space would heartily approve of that. There are so many potential uses for that site, and the local community have come out in force and said so.
I really wish them the best of luck with our campaign. These spaces and amenities were set up by our grandfathers, not for the benefit of individuals, not for the benefit of builders. They were set up for the benefit of the community.